Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. The World Series is among us, and we're going to preview the series. Let's do it.
Sal Frank.
Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball, the World Series preview episode. It's brought to you by SeatGeek. Code Jomboy postseason is going to hook you up there. 10% off any ticket, anywhere, any venue, as long as it's on their site or their app and you purchase it. You can use code Jomboy postseason for 10% off. Use it today, use it tomorrow, use it the next day. You use it, you get 10% off your ticket. Also, slowing down for anyone that might have been like, skip the ad. I already know. Slowing. Thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys for joining us and appreciate everyone that hit subscribe in between last episode and this episode. We are 750 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So we're going to need everyone whose name starts with the J, T, and D for us, for the four of us. You are bound, if you're listening, to subscribe. You have to. If your name doesn't start with a J, T, or a D, and you want to subscribe and help us out because you realize, oh shit, I've been listening a lot and I like them, but I haven't subscribed yet.
I just realized I'm not subscribed.
You can. We're asking you, but you're not bound like the JTs and Ds out there who have to. So that's that. And now we will discuss the Diamondbacks versus Rangers World Series. First historical question: how many Texas Rangers do you think died due to Diamondback bite in the late 1800s?
Me or him?
That's kind of for everyone.
Comment below.
Hundreds? I think one guy.
Yeah.
I think back in the day, everyone was just dying.
Do Diamondbacks bite you?
Sleeping on the ground.
Like if a snake got you, it's over.
Are Diamondbacks deadly?
Yes.
Why don't you ask the Phillies?
Yes, they are.
Venomous bite.
Hey, we
can
need
be
to
fatal
bind
humans.
people to more things. Like when someone's bound to something, we need more of that in this world.
You can start binding people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, guys, Diamondbacks are deadly, and there's 10 different types of rattlesnake in Texas, so I think Trev probably split the difference. Jake wins at 50.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jake, are you excited for the World Series?
And that's the World Series preview. James, Trev, Davis, everyone joining us. Exciting times. Everyone had it. Rangers, Snakes. You know, I kept my Snakes garb off for this episode. I want to be as neutral baseball commentary as I can be. Although I am wearing my only piece of traditional Southwest garb as a top. So, you know, as much as I try, I can't hide that bias. How are you doing, Trevangelo?
That is just a brutal shirt.
Whoa! All right.
I just noticed it. Oh,
Wow.
my goodness. Speaking of that,
A great shirt.
speaking of outfits, I'm going to show you guys the hat I was going to wear until I got made fun of. And they said I couldn't wear it because I look like I'm from London, or if I wear it like this, like I work on the shipyard. So,
You could wear that if you did the whole show while smoking a cigar. AJ Hawk style.
well, my lungs are a temple. I am excited about this matchup. I think it does lean itself to a bunch of different storylines. These teams play very differently. I'm excited. I think most about, and take a wild guess. You're not going to get it. I'll just tell you. The third starters. It's gonna be a very interesting World Series, and I'm down to talk about it. James, you look very nice in your Jomboy media garb.
Thank you. This is the they have a fun name for this. The Seafoam Green Jomboy Media shirt. So appreciate that. It is nice. I do like these shirts. The color, they're called colorful cotton or whatever.
Comfort colors.
Comfort colors, yeah.
Oh,
They're
that's
nice.
it's a much better product than we used to have. Yes.
I don't know if I could do them in summertime because they're kind of like a nice, like thicker cotton. I would get sweaty, but I do like them a lot now that fall's around.
The thicker fabric, I think, hides the sweat a little better, though. So win and lose there.
You know what? One of my favorite early aspects of this World Series is
Here we go.
no difference in time off before a game on Friday. Obviously, the Rangers have one extra day. I don't think it serves them much better than the Diamondbacks. Both teams get to reset. So storylines about the rest and the rotation and all of this, like I very much said that I enjoyed that Game 7 was kind of a similar pitching matchup. And I enjoy that this World Series, now we're starting. Who will be the Game 1 starters? Do we have that info?
I would assume Zach Gallen.
And Monty, right?
And Monty.
Yes.
Monty pitched on his throw day.
And that's been their number ones this whole time.
Early leg up. Gallen didn't have to throw on his throw day, so Snakes advantage. Just mark that down.
But that's nice, right? Like we can all that storyline and that mess and that like built-in excuses for whatever team gets off to a bad start. It's done. We're even. Your chosen number one, our chosen number one. We're going in order. Nice that it worked out that way.
I think that there is a chance that Eovaldi starts Game 1. So either way, it's like a 1A, 1B situation there.
That would just be their choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're not like pigeonholed into that.
Yes. Again, I mean, I don't know if we're just straight getting into the pitching aspect of it, but if I was to tell you that I have more confidence in Brandon Pfaff than I do Max Scherzer, you would have called me, pretty crazy at the beginning of the season. But right now, I think that's kind of how it lines up. And that's, I think, a very interesting part of this series because you do have two really good starters on each team that both teams are very confident in. We'll let them, get a third time through the order most of the time. I really expect it in the World Series that we will see that. But then you have these third starters, and Brandon Pfaff coming into the postseason, even this first start against the Brewers, not someone they really had a lot of confidence in. And now the way he's throwing the ball, I look at him as a legitimate threat in this World Series, and I don't know if you can say the same thing about Max Scherzer, although I will have his back till I die because of what he's done and what I know he can do in a one-game situation where the adrenaline is pumping. I think he's got a chance, but I'd lean Brandon Pfaff right now in that pitching matchup, which is crazy, dude.
It's, man, sometimes we're not a strikeout pod. Even part of this episode, we probably won't be strikeout pods because, that sometimes that can get your pitch count up, and there's times we don't like that during the season. For Pfaff, it's one of those situations where what strikeouts can be good for, 14 innings pitched, 18 punchies his last 3 outings. Like, it hasn't been fluky. Like, it hasn't been, wow, Alec Thomas saving his butt at the wall. Like, no, he's been dialed in. At the same time, like, I know Scherzer hasn't looked great, but these have also been rehab starts. Like, he didn't go to AAA, get his 3 starts to build him up. He's been rehabbing against the Houston Astros in the CS. So I'm not going to rule Max Scherzer out. The starting pitching, I think it's funny. Zach Gallen, it's what do you believe in? Like, he had a couple meh outings. It's against the Phillies, who at the time they were viewed as this lineup that couldn't be beat, really. So do you believe in him getting a second chance and another opportunity coming against the Texas Rangers? And is he going to shine and be kind of the dude of dudes that he is? Or, as the playoffs go on, like you're saying, it turns into game by game. It's something that I think is one of Jimmy's favorite parts of the postseason, and it's where, to be obnoxious for a second, like, when we were growing up learning baseball from the Yankees, like, Joe Torre would change the Yankees lineup. Like, we gave Rob Thompson credit at times when it's like, no, he's sticking with his guns. That's his lineup he believes in. There's also something to, Bochy sliding Evan Carter up. Like, hey, the playoffs are game by game. And, if you start performing, if you run into a ball, if Christian Walker hits a double his first at-bat in this World Series, his whole CS is behind him, and he's one of the bigger threats on the field. And that's playoff baseball. It's where it's sick and beautiful at the same time.
Sick and beautiful at the same
James
time.
is deep in thought. There's going to be
He is.
some
Where are you,
statistic
Jim?
just
I'm
pulled out
looking
right
up
now.
a stat I wanted to look up because
I
you
knew it.
guys talked about the swing and miss stuff. So I was trying to look, the Phillies swing big. I wanted to look at their contact rate when they swing at pitches in the zone, because they don't chase pitches out of the zone. I mean, Kyle Schwarber's got a 24-0 swing. means he swings at pitches out of the zone 24% of the time. That's crazy low. That's crazy low. When he swings at pitches out of the zone, he makes contact half the time. But he doesn't swing them that often. Anyway, so I wanted to see, like, Fought. Can he pound the zone with all this stuff against the Rangers and find similar success? Well, that's what I was looking up. I didn't fully come to a conclusion yet. But the Rangers chase decent amount. And when they chase, they make contact way more, I think.
I mean,
like Stott's the only
start.
Sorry, Stott's the one on the Phillies who has a really high contact rate when he swings at strikes. The rest aren't that great. Stott's the one that got the Fought, right? So that was, yeah.
He was more in the zone in that inning. I think that Torrey did a good job of realizing that. But the first 3 innings, he was locating very, very well. So I think it's obviously when he's good and when he's not good. If he can command those 4 pitches that he has, he's shown the ability to make guys that don't chase and swing and miss when they do chase. So
yeah, the heavy hitters for the Phillies, just to finish this, since I was deep in it, Trey Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Castellanos, they their contact rate when they swing at balls in the zone isn't that high. It's like 50% or lower. That can be a very good thing. It can lead you to swing and miss is better than swing and pop up or swing and ground out. So it's not always a bad thing. But the contact rate of Lowe, Simeon, Heim, Seager, they're all 55 and above. Lowe's 67%. So that's what I was looking at. If they're able to throw all their breaking stuff in the zone and get swing and miss like they were able to against the Phillies at the end. That's kind of what the Diamondbacks changed pitching-wise. Besides Sal Frank, everyone else was like, hey, if you throw it below the zone, they just don't swing. If you throw it in the zone, they swing and miss. Seager's going to crush Gallen, but go Snakes.
Oh, my God.
He's like the best fastball hitter going, like pitch value-wise. Just got hot.
I think that's going to be interesting for the Snakes is, what is that Gallen? How does he respond, I guess, right? 2 starts against an offense that got to him, and you're facing another very highly talented offense. And I think it's the same thing for him. I mean, it's location, man. It's command.
Who do you guys like more in this series, Monty or Eovaldi?
What will the D-backs do versus Monty is a question I would want to look up. Lineup-wise.
So Moreno will hit third, kind of what they've done recently in the playoffs, and he mashes lefty. He's like a 1.0 OPS versus lefties. Ketel Marte, also better versus lefties, and they had him slide up to the leadoff spot. I think their lineup, although they've had mixed results against lefties, I think at this point in the season, it bodes. It's a little more daunting versus lefties. Longoria gets a little better versus lefties. Gurriel against lefties. So I think their righty threats are a little scarier right now. The only guy that's a little bit of a caveat is Alek Thomas, who has made himself a threat this postseason and is awesome on the defensive side of the ball. While Monty's in there, he'll be out of the game. And you'll get Fam's bat, but worse defense.
Corbin Carroll. Similar batting average lefty and right, but worse on base, worse slug. But he's going to play. I don't know. Monty's a lefty, and he has the highest release point in Major League Baseball, so there's 2 funks going on. But Eovaldi's got a splitter, which is another pitch you just don't see that much, especially for the younger dudes like Carroll and Moreno.
I think Eovaldi's got more room for error with the way he pitches. So again, like I'm talking about Gallen and talking about Fought, if Monty can command the inside part of the zone to the right-handed hitters. Moreno does have good numbers against Monty. I mean, he definitely would be a guy that maybe you'd pitch around, or you would just kind of really try to get in, and see what happens. The way Monty's been pitching, man, I think I lean him starting, and I think I lean him being a number 1, despite what they do with Moreno. Where does Marte have more power from?
I would assume. I know his numbers are better while hitting right-handed, but I don't know if that's just a true all-around hitter. First lefty, he's an 879 OPS. First righty this year, 828. So the power's still there, but there's a big batting average gap.
I assume they start Monty.
Man, and there's some fun stuff here. I mean, I think the Monty Eovaldi conversation just is fun, and like we'll see what the series has to offer there.
Is Monty more of a fly ball pitcher?
I think he's still in the realm of starting pitchers. He
gets ground balls, right?
Lead grounders, yeah.
That might be scary. He's 43% ground ball, 34 fly ball. That might be, the Snakes are fast.
Like to run. Monty had 2 starts against the Snakes this year. One was good, one was bad. I think that's interesting.
He was in the National League.
Yeah. So they saw him as a in St. Louis and I think in Texas for one start. So yeah, I don't know. That was the fun game I was playing this morning because I think as of right now, I mean Monty was special, like so very special. Got them through the CS. Like without him, they don't. And then playoff Nathan Eovaldi is kind of a different beast. So in April, so you throw it out a little bit. 4 innings pitched, 7 earned runs against Monty. 821 against the Snakes, 8 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. So that's the one that's fresher in your memory. You mentioned Gabriel Moreno is 4 for 7 with a couple extra base hits. And then let's see, Eovaldi most recently, 1 start this year against Arizona, 6 innings, 4 earned runs. And he's got some nasty numbers against Pham, Longoria, Ketel Marte. So,
it says here that Rojas crushes splitters this year. But so much so that I think if I go look it up, he's gotten like 1 hit off a splitter.
Rojas?
Yeah. Josh.
You're just
Big
deep
part
in
of the
the weeds right now.
Carroll is good against splitters, but the rest of them ain't.
Okay.
Impressive for a rookie.
I also think that all these numbers we're talking about, all these past starts kind of mean nothing. This is the World Series, and all the numbers are thrown out the window, and you just kind of have to.
Well, what are we going to talk about then?
Well, I don't know. I understand that, but like, I'm saying, I think for guys' psyche, and we talk about this on the show quite often, like from series to series, I think in the playoffs, like you wipe your mind clean of what happened in the series before. So Longoria has not had a good postseason so far, but he's going to be in there, and I think I know his mindset is I'm going to go rake. Like I think that means something because a lot of times we look at these, what happened in the regular season. It's just a different type of feeling, but.
Well, and I think the most fun stat on our page that is via our guy Dalton Feely, the Prince of Snakes, and I think it's an assist from Sarah Langs, who's the best. A pennant winner to have a rookie as its position player leading the team in WAR has only happened 3 previous times. Corbin Carroll for the Snakes. The last time it happened, Evan Longoria on Tampa Bay. So how about that?
B WAR,
F WAR.
Yeah, 15 years later, Longo beats the Phillies.
Guys, Carroll crushes splitters. He's got 8 hits off splitters this year.
Don't throw it, Nate.
Uh-oh.
Don't throw it, Nate.
Do we have to do like full predictions on this episode? Are you just going games, James? You're going to go with winner this time?
I don't know. I haven't figured out what I want to do there, but did we do well at all in the CS series?
100%, if I remember correctly.
I don't think I did. I think I had Snakes going 6 and Rangers going 5.
Your heartfelt 5. And then, and both went 7.
Yeah.
Houston, Philly, fade. The next half of the episode is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog, and I have a question about half, so I want to ask you guys.
Okay.
Farmer's Dog, beautiful thing. Gets delivered to my front doorstep pouches of delicious dog food that have my dog's name on it, Noodle. And he really likes that. It's the little things with him. And he likes that it's fresh, healthy dog food developed by vets, nutritionally balanced, made from real healthy ingredients to human food safety standards. How about that? Whether your dog is young or old, it's always the right time to begin investing in their health, helping you live healthy, happy, and full years together. That's kind of what we're all doing here, people. And how about a deal? Get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/Jomboy. Plus, you get free shipping. That's thefarmersdog.com/Jomboy for 50% off. Click the link in the description. My question for you guys is, do you think this is going to have a feel of almost first half of the game, second half of the games? Because the biggest, I think you could point to the Texas Rangers lineup, and you got a couple more threats there. I mean, you could go around the horn, and there's some even matchups, but Corey Seager is a difference maker. Him compared to Perdomo, and a couple other guys in that Rangers lineup, Adolis. But the bullpens, I mean, these are two very opposite feels. The Snakes bullpen has been lights out. The Texas's way to this postseason has been navigating around it somewhat. Like even Jim, you mentioned like Leclerc, who had been the early lockdown guy of the playoffs. His last couple outings haven't been pretty. Spores has stepped up for them, and I want to give him love. But do you think this is – I was saying it towards the end of the Phillies series, like if the longer it stays close, the more and more that needle goes D-backs, whether it's bullpen or even like the little things at the end of the game, speed, defense. Like, I don't know. Do you think it's going to have that kind of feel?
I think it depends on the starting pitchers. I mean, that's because the bullpens will come into play, obviously, but the Bochy and the Rangers have been able to kind of only deploy the guys who he trusts the most because their starting pitching has actually given him enough length. He's had a couple guys take some, long relief outings, but for the most part, he's stuck to Spores. He's stuck to Chapman and Leclerc. So if they can continue to do that, I think it doesn't become an issue. And, I think we'll both see both sides in this series will have a bullpen, give up a lead. But if those starters of the Rangers don't give them length and we start to see more and more of the Rangers bullpen exposed, then yes, I do believe that it'll become more of like, well, Rangers just need to keep the Diamondbacks just have to keep it close at the first half of the game because they can add on against this Rangers bullpen. But if the starters continue to give them length and they just pare it down to these four guys, then I think it becomes more of a wash. I still obviously believe the Diamondbacks have a better bullpen. But those guys, I mean, Leclerc, he pitched so many games in a row and through so many innings. This nice little break right here, I think is going to refresh him. He's going to look good in this World Series. I think the rest is going to help him a lot.
I have a question. Have the Rangers won a game in the second half of the game? They did it in the CS.
They've added on.
Yes, but they haven't they got to their bullpen to come back for the win. They win early, and the D-backs do as well, but they did win late twice against the Phillies. But, since the wild card series, we talked about two teams that score cluster runs early. It's these two teams. So I was trying to think, Jake, because the Rangers haven't played any games that felt like there were two halves to it. There were two equal halves.
That's exactly what I'm asking.
That's what you mean? I thought you meant two equal halves.
No, I was saying the Texas Rangers kind of have to win the first half of the game because they lean on their starting pitching in the cluster offense and they're fearful of their bullpen.
Yes.
That's what I was saying. If it's close midway through the game, everything leans Snakes at that point.
The way you combat that, and I do agree with you, and the Snakes were a good come from behind team during the year as well, but it's the length in the starting pitching, and then if you can continue to score those cluster runs, I know the Snakes have a good bullpen, but this offense is ridiculous. At any given moment, Adolis Garcia can walk up there and pump you. Seager is hot; he can pump you. This offense is right up there with the Phillies, and I know what they just did to the Phillies. I understand that, but I think that's how you combat your less than favorable bullpen is get some length out of your starters, and then they're going to have to cluster some runs there at the end of the game, which I think they're very much capable of doing.
Yeah. All right. So I just looked at all the Rangers games. They have not had we're down one or we're tied and we won it. Now, clearly they get ahead early enough that they haven't had to do that. But that is funny that we haven't had a late Rangers rally in while they're down this whole time.
No need.
Well, some games they've needed it. They didn't get it. So, but does that make Bochy
I think there was
just
only
concede those games? Not, you know what, I'm not saying concede, but it makes him more easy to be like,
well, I just think
they're burn our guys.
There was only one game like that, and it was the hit by pitch Altuve 3-homer game that ended up being a 1-run game. Everything else was kind of a blowout.
Yeah.
I hope we don't get that. I hope we don't have blowouts in the World Series. I mean, kind of what it looks like it might be if the Rangers win games. I mean, that's kind of how they do it, but
I think what's going to be interesting, obviously, what the starting pitchers give, you say that for any baseball game since the start of time. There are going to be close competitive games in this World Series, and something that the Snakes have been navigating, the man so nice they named him thrice, Andrew Saalfrank, the number one go-to lefty out of the Snakes pen. Well, Mantiply too. And I think what's going to be interesting, the Rangers, their lineup against right-handed starting pitching has gone Semien, Seager, and then full count Evan Carter. We've seen Robbie Grossman get the start against lefties. The Snakes don't have any lefty starting pitching. We'll see what they do on bullpen day. But with that Seager and Carter back-to-back in the lineup, here comes Andrew Saalfrank throwing low sliders and sinkers and seeing if they're going to offer. That was one of the fun things about last series with the Phillies. We're going to see that again with this series, and the pressure is either going to be on Semien, who, 3-batter minimum, Semien to either start that inning, or Adolis Garcia is after both lefties. That's going to be the little game of chicken that Torrey and Bochy are playing that, I don't know. I think you're going to see two kids in whatever games are tight in this series. You're going to see two kids that got a couple games of big league baseball on the biggest stage competing, which, phew.
You think they swap out Adolis or Mitch Garver into the 3-hole because of that?
It'd be interesting, right?
Yeah.
We've seen Bochy rearrange the lineup a little bit to give the Saalfrank two lefties like that in a row. And even Mantiply, too, has gotten them some big outs. And Torrey, again, it's kind of, we talked about this with Houston and Texas a little bit. Torrey wants to use his pen. Like, when he's hit the button out there, they've gotten pretty good results, where Boch is in the opposite.
Oh, yeah. Do you think it's like Corbin Carroll has to show up or the Snakes don't have a chance? Like, is he the main cog? And I know, there were times where he wasn't doing anything, but when he did in Game 7, just absolutely show up. He took the game over, man. Like, is he the guy that they have to have the most in that lineup?
Marte would raise his hand.
Yeah, he won MVP.
Yeah.
I think if they want to win easy, they want to save the pen, Carroll's got to be involved in that because he's just so dynamic. But they can win without him going, I believe. They just got to really put stuff together and lean on Marte or someone else to get it done. How many extra inning games have we had this postseason? Is it one?
What's the one?
Is it none?
Diamondbacks, right?
I thought the Diamondbacks, they walked off. They walked off bottom 9.
Bottom 9.
That was bottom 9.
I don't think we
10.
have. I don't think we have.
Have we had 0 extra inning playoff games and 1 walk-off out of 30-something games?
Bingo.
There wasn't 11 somewhere. I feel like there was 11 somewhere, but maybe not. In the wild card round.
I've been watching a lot of these games. Don't have a good memory, but
neither do I. I just felt like there was
an
11 somewhere.
Because that's we
37 games. Yeah, I have it up. 37 games, no extra inning and only 1 walk-off.
We haven't seen the
that's boring.
Holy smokes, this guy's got to pitch the 11th feeling yet. Like we haven't seen that.
So let's go, 5 extra inning games.
Yes. Every
That
game.
would not be good for the Rangers, I don't think.
No.
I don't. I'm looking at these lineups, man. That Rangers lineup is pretty long. Jake Lytics.
Oh.
I mean, especially with like Mitch Garver, the way he has performed. Hopefully, I mean, do you think that guy's got to be sore? Holy crap!
That bottle of ribs.
That means something. Like, is he going to be able to swing at full capacity in the World Series? Like, he got smoked, dude. They said the X-rays were negative, but
If you're Torey Lovello, do you pay a journalist to go incite some shit talk out of the Rangers?
Yes.
I mean, I've
just
never
the
heard
motivation.
I've never heard a manager just so quite frankly be like, yeah, that did piss our guys off. Yeah, they do fuel off that. It does help them. Like, he didn't say those words, but he's been like, yeah, they were mad about that. I think that has. And they just want to play good ball also. But so I think you have to go get some of the Rangers to speak out of turn. Who's their third string catcher?
Rangers' third string catcher?
Yeah.
Hedges.
Okay. So a journalist, have Lovello pay a journalist to walk Hedges out to the pool and just be like, thoughts?
Hedges would never. Hedges would never. I honestly can't believe there was so much talk like that. That's a little out of pocket.
The Phillies are saying that
quite
they've been
honest.
Taijuan Walker tweeted like a lot of disrespect.
I'm sure they're getting a lot of hate
Maybe.
because that city will love you a lot.
Well, no, I think he's
Maybe
talking
that-
about the D-backs planting their flag in their field and playing their win song in the
That
locker
was
room.
interesting too.
Maybe that was at
That
Topper
wouldn't-
for not letting him pitch.
Planting a flag.
I think he was liking some.
Planting a
teachers
flag
on
is
him.
tough for me, bro.
Oh, it's such a lame thing to do. I mean, just mostly because the kid who did it in high school at my school was like the fucking like, oh my God, dude, you think you're like a gladiator. He'll like run out and spike it and think like he like killed a dude. I was like, so I'm not into that.
Part of me loves it because it brings me back to like the medieval times, and it's like how you claimed land and like you just won a war, so you planted a flag. And I get it. I get the analogy.
Yeah.
You know
Of it
that
all?
feeling.
Yeah.
You know that feeling.
Yeah. Oklahoma
In another
Sooners.
simulation, I was doing that for real, but like
Yeah.
this, I don't know, man. Like doing it, like I think it's
Thanks.
almost played out.
Because it's from medieval times.
It's happened so long for
Yeah.
thousands of years. No, if it's in medieval times, it would never get played out because you actually had to kill lots of people to do it.
What if two
So it
teams
meant
from the
something.
same town are playing?
Mm.
They share a stadium or they share
Yes.
facilities. You know,
Jets
and then
Giants this weekend in East Rutherford.
They should have
Kinda
a
love
fucking.
that. See, I'm
the
in
Jets
on
and the
that. It
Giants,
means something.
The Jets and the Giants should have a bet when they play each other. Whoever loses, they have to play. Their next home game is that they're not going to change the end zone paint or any of the decor.
Mm.
I think like a flag flying is fine. We don't have to do the paint.
Well, think about all the employees that are going to have a day off, paid.
Paid, bro.
Yeah,
You get that?
PTO. Do you get that?
Are you getting that?
Do I get PTO?
No, I don't think so.
You are PTO.
Yeah.
What? I'm a grinder.
I'm getting sucked in a little more to the lefties from Arizona just because two of the 4 games Texas won off of Houston where they knocked around Framber. And so they're not going to see a lefty starter. And that changes up their lineup a little bit. So that's, I guess that's, as we sort through all of this, which kind of we're laughing to ourselves because like you said, Trev, in a way you throw stuff out the window because it's a 7-game set. And if one person gets hot, you know, Perdomo could be not pitchable after 3 games. Perdomo could be an instant you're going to bunt every at-bat. Like, it's where the sport is a little sick and twisted. And I don't know. I guess there was a part of me that thought I was going to get punched in the face by looking at the Texas Rangers and be like, damn, man, like that lineup is just silly.
You don't get that feeling?
Monty and Nate.
I do.
Seager scares me. He's got a World Series MVP in the bag.
Okay.
I picked him in the homer
Jimmy
draft.
took him in the homer draft. And when you really go around the horn, you're like, that guy that guy is one of the difference. He's kind of he makes Texas feel a lot different than the Arizona Diamondbacks. So
I mean, his first pitch homer.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Bet on it.
Bet on it. Contain him.
I mean, Adolis Garcia is the exact same way. I mean, can you contain him? And then you have Evan Carter, who's just going to give you a great at bat every single time. I actually love that he's been kind of in between those guys getting, that kind of treatment. But like, he's going to put up a good at bat with runners in scoring position. Like he's going to scare you, and you can go down the lineup, man. I think you're right. I think that Snakes can substitute better. I think starting lineups, and I'd even go, if I lump starting pitching and starting lineups in together, I would lean Texas Rangers. But as the game goes on and you have to substitute, whether it's your pitchers or, make moves at the end of the game with your bench, I think I lean Snakes.
I don't think Bochy can work his magic. I think the Rangers bullpen, and I've been saying this forever and it hasn't happened, I think they're hanging by a thread. When they brought Leclerc and Chapman in Game 7, and I was like, oh, good, get them a little tune-up, feeling good before they go into the next series, and they both looked bad. Like, it wasn't a tune-up.
Different circumstance. So I feel like you throw those types of things out the window, man.
You mean Leclerc's last 2 outings, he got hit a homer off of him, fastball and changeup, and he just kind of like, I never seen a dude look as shook. So, but he just look as shook as he looked.
The guy with the most homers, second most homers in MLB postseason history. I think that
But wait, hold on. But I'm still like the Rangers more. But go Snakes. I love Torey Lovullo, and I'm rooting for the Diamondbacks. But Gallen got by the Phillies a couple times, and the formula is that the DBacks have to maintain the Rangers offense early. And I actually like their ability to maintain the Rangers offense late better and not early. And the Rangers, when they hit, they just fucking hit. Like crazy.
Yeah. So you're on the Rangers. Because it's about that time.
7 games.
Ooh. Ooh. My heart.
They need it. They just can't be 4 or 5. Can't.
Who's they in that story?
Like, dude, everyone that wants to get good baseball and an audience. If this is a 4-game World Series, no one remembers it ever. And that's me.
I don't believe that, man. I think some of the most memorable series that we've had, as like, I don't know, in the last decade or so, or 20 years, have been like the Cubs versus the Indians. Obviously, for that reason, I get the Cubs, but the Indians were in that. No one really cared about that.
That was Game 7.
Giants.
They went 7 games.
Giants versus the Royals comes to mind.
Didn't that go 7 games?
No.
6?
6 games.
Okay,
Bumgarner pitched
but that
really
proves
well
my point pretty well, that this series needs to go 6 or 7 to be like a great, memorable series.
This thing needs to have moments. I think that's what series needs.
The best sweep is probably the White Sox, 05, because their starting pitching was just nuts.
Fun.
Yeah.
And they both went 7 in the CS, so go 7. Lose your losses.
I want 7.
If the Rangers lose their losses and win their wins, they will win the series in 7 games.
I like that.
Because they can't try to win a lose. I think Bochy knows that. We're down 2. Like Leclerc, Spores, go back to sleep. We're going to lose this game.
Add it to the analytics binder that we've been collecting here. I like that. Lose your losses.
Well, we kind of hate that because it's what the Yankees do. But I think the bullpen is pretty bad.
If you want to be a good team, you got to win some losses.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
D-backs
Snakes have won a couple losses.
The Snakes have won losses.
Different than this.
The 162 is different
saying.
than this, but yeah, the Snakes can
Leo gif.
the Snakes should try to win all their games. The Rangers should throw the towel in their loss.
Rangers fans not happy with that assessment.
It's half right.
I mean, we're using
Take the day for your good
verbose
pen.
or grandeur language
and
to make a subtle point. Like, don't burn your good bullpen unless you're really, really in it.
And that's where
because your good bullpen only has so much left.
That's where you could end up having a special memory. Like if Dane Dunning keeps you in a game for 3 innings and that allows the Texas Rangers to have one of their cluster innings. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I think we saw it in 7-game series are so much different than 5, never mind 3. The rally backs, the answer backs, their depth is impressive, and it feels like everyone knows their role in their lane. If they go down, they lose the first 2 games to Monty and Eovaldi, which can happen. We've seen it. D-backs just did that. Like they got beat up in Philly. They came home. They didn't care. They won the next 2. Right now, like where we started, Fott versus Scherzer feels like a massive advantage for the Snakes, which, again, that's one of those you can't predict baseball at all. I don't think they're ever going to be out of it. Like, I'm sure there might be one Texas game where we look up and it's 10-2 and we're like, wow.
You don't think the Snakes are ever going to be out of it?
The series.
Oh, but like a game. Okay, I thought you were talking about a game-to-game basis.
The series. That's what I was just teeing up. Like, they went down 2-0 to Philadelphia, who everyone was penning in, to go back to the World Series because they got the Stars. And how do you shut down that lineup? And, their top 3 in the rotation is nasty. Didn't care. They went back to Philly. Need to win 2 in Philly. Didn't care. Face the big bad Dodgers. Didn't care. I don't know. I like their depth, bullpen better all around. And I think in a 7-game set, that matters. So if Texas straight up jumps them and it's Texas in 5, I could see that very much happening. The longer each game goes, the longer the series goes, it favors the Snakes. Snakes in 6.
I want one thing from this series and one thing only. It is Aroldis Chapman versus Tommy Pham with a game on the line. That's all I want. It's all I want. And the numbers aren't good for Tommy Pham. I just looked it up. He's 0 for 8 with 4 Ks against Chapman, but we got to see that, right? Like I was thinking, like Chapman versus Carroll would be cool, but that's not really fair to Carroll. He doesn't know where the ball's going. Lefty's not great. Tommy Pham or Aroldis Chapman is the matchup that we need. I honestly want to pick the Snakes in this series, but I've been against them every single series and they've won, so I would not do that to you or to Dalton because I respect you too much. I'm on the Rangers in 6 games. I do think that
Snakes
we're going
7.
to see some huge offensive outbursts. I think Adelise continues it. I think Seager continues it. I think Simeon might get hot. I think that cluster offense is too much to overcome.
Okay.
What are you, James?
Snakes in 7. Because I don't have friends over on the Rangers. No one, right?
You and Bochy.
Wait, what'd you say?
Bochy got a huge head.
Edgy.
What about McCarthy? Is he with the Rangers still?
Brandon McCarthy?
Yeah.
Backyard Brad is on the Rangers.
That's
Hedges on the Rangers.
but those are your friends and Rose's friends. I know. I don't have a rapport.
Special assistant to the general manager of the Texas
Nathan
Rangers.
Eovaldi
Okay.
is a
I'm
former
Chris
Yankee.
Young's friend.
I like BMAC. We've chatted before. He's nice, and we met him.
Yeah.
He's tall, so
Like
ridiculously
they
tall.
went 2 talls.
I mean, him and Chris Young
That's
are just
why
so
they're
tall.
friends.
Yeah, eye to eye. Okay, I'll go D-backs in 7.
7 and 7s. Snake's alive. Simple.
Oh my God. I'm getting a call from someone with the last name McCarthy right now. That's honestly wild. No way I answer that. I don't know.
Rangers in 6.
Imagine that's him.
This is
We've
the last
hacked your
time you'll see him with the
we've
beard.
hacked your studio. Don't tell people we're friends.
Dream sniper.
Do not tell people we